Welcome to the first GP of the season.
Welcome to the first GP of the season.
Hello guys, welcome to Comunitat Valenciana.
Welcome back to Albeida, Supermoto fans. This is the 2026 FIM Supermoto World Championship, and it begins right here in eastern Spain. Albeida is steadily becoming a staple destination for S1GP, and it's one of the most beautiful parts of the world that our calendar visits. The historic streets wrap around the fabulous Palau dels Mila y Aragao, which today stands as the defining architectural landmark of Albeida. It is the hub for tourism in the town and even hosts an international museum of puppets. The art of the late great Jose Sagreus is also celebrated throughout the town, which currently homes a little over 6,000 permanent residents. On this weekend, between the paddock and the fans, the populace of Albeida expands and two wheels take over. Let's get ready for some fireworks. Circuit de Albeida is a compelling course with a fairly smooth and flowing tarmac section, juxtaposed with an undulating, treacherous dirt section. Just 1.1 kilometers in total, this track is short, sharp and fast. Let's get a closer look at the track with TSV Racing's Steve Bonnell.
Welcome in the circuit of Albeida for the first round of FIM 2026 World Championship. I'm Steve Bonnell and I will show you my favorite place in this track. Follow me. As you can see, before the off-road section, we arrive off a fast right corners. So it's hard because we arrive with a lot of speed and we need to brake hard to hit out the brake because it's a left side corner. You can see very close with the tires before entry in off-road section. And you can see this is it's a very downhill. So it's a special corner here, and you can see here the white line is the pegs of the riders on the bike. So when we jump on the off-road, we touch pegs on the asphalt. Now we are in the off-road section, and you can see this sign in Joker Lane. So this is the entry of the Joker Lane in Albeida. We arrive very fast after the table jump, so we need to slow down a lot for going in this way because it's very, very small, and we have no grip because we take only the Joker Lane in warm-up for practice it and in spur final, for one lap. Now, as you can see with the sign, we are out of the Joker Lane. It's a really fast part here because and also sketchy because we have the main lane of the normal track who are close to us. So we need to pay attention when we re-entry on the track before the big table here in Albeida. Don't waste time, it's time to push. Let's go.
Time to push, says Steve Bonnell, and as TM's new leading light, he must subscribe to that philosophy in 2026. Let's jump on board with the young Frenchman. Out onto the main straight then, and immediately into this multi-apex first couple of corners. It's a triple right, and they do say that all good things come in threes. A little bit of a switch there, slight left-hander. Good braking opportunity though into turn 5. You see lots of block passes through there, and you can see the odd overtake performed through this sinuous S section as well, particularly into this apex as it kind of drops down. Nice camber on that corner. One more flowing turn to go. That is the right-hander, and then switching left to go downhill into the dirt section where there is such limited traction. It's a huge drop down into the dirt, and then you can just see how slick it is on the racing line here. You can see riders fighting for traction all the time, especially through the slower sections where it really is a struggle to keep the bike upright. They make liberal use of that berm on the outside of what is the penultimate corner of the lap over the tabletop. One last run up the hill onto the main straight. It's all over in less than a minute here in Albeida. In the Metzler Superpole session, things are always close and hard fought, but with laps coming in at under a minute here, it would truly be fine margins tipping the scales. 3 riders take part in Superpole to determine the front row. This time it would be Bonnell versus Schmidt versus Julen Avila. Avila was up first on his home turf here in Spain, pushing for a pole position aboard the MTR KTM. The exciting teenage racer was pushing hard. He was the slowest of the 3 participants in the prior Q2 session, but they were all within a tenth. This could go any way, especially with Avila setting a 58.870. Next up, it was Mark Reiner Schmidt. After losing the title to suspension post-season in 2025, he returns to the number 41 plate in 2026 and debuts Team Undici's Ducati. The team has been working hard to prepare the Desmo 450 for Supermoto competition, and it looks like a strong package. However, this lap wasn't quite on point from the German, a 59.7, over 7 tenths back from his Q2 time. Steve Bonnell was up next aboard his TSV Racing TM factory bike. The rider of the Fabulous 3 would have to find a couple of tenths from Q2 to beat Julen Avila, and it was clear that he was giving it everything he could on the turns and jumps of Albaida. While it looked fast, it also looked fairly smooth, but it was not a faster lap than he had achieved in Q2. His time would only be good enough for second, the clock stopping at a 59.258. Avila was watching on closely through the final sections. He would see that the time was not enough. Avila would be the only rider to improve on his Q2 performance in Superpole, a deserving first pole sitter of the year in S1GP. He gets the early points boost then in the Grand Prix of Valenciana, and a nice check to go with it. Our Superpole results determine the order on the front row. Avila Cortez ahead of Bonnell and Schmidt. Ferran Cardu is alongside fellow Honda rider Elia Sammartin and Gabin Pernat on row 2. He starts well aboard the new Team Insane Part Suzuki. A lot of promising names up and down the grid. We go racing for the first time in 2026. Avila Cortez did not get a good start at all. It's Bonnell that leads through the first corner, but he's side by side there with Mark Reiner Schmidt. He's been pushed wide there, I think a little bit by Schmidt. He's down to 3rd place behind Ferran Cardu as they run through the first lap. And oh, the 2 Team Insane Part Suzukis have collided. Gabin Pernat hits the deck, and I think that was Adrian Sada aboard the 43 that collided with him. That is not the start that they wanted. A bold new era to see Suzuki on the grid with such a prominent entry. Of course, we're riding on board with the Ducati from Mark Reiner Schmidt. A lot of really exciting entries in the paddock for this year, but certainly for the Insane Suzukis, not how we wanted to start things off. Of course, you'll note that we are down a KTM. Schriff Racing, Lucas Hurlbacher, who eventually was declared the 2025 champion after the suspension for this man, Mark Reiner Schmidt. He has a shoulder injury that he's been nursing for quite some time. We hope to see him back aboard his bike soon, but sitting out of at least a full championship campaign in 2026. Mark Reiner Schmidt then leading Ferran Cardu, of course, a flat track star, is the rider of the 16. But very capable on a Supermoto, very capable on a motocross bike as well. And we can see him matching pace with Mark Reiner Schmidt and keeping Julen Avila at bay as well. Avila will be disappointed to be running in 3rd position, having started from pole, but just got squeezed out there on the outside, and goodness me, Ferran Cardu used a lot of the berm there. That was a bit of a slam against the berm or the banking, but it worked for him. And how impressive is this to see the Ducati out front, Team Undici with this new project, but it looks like Schmidt is maybe struggling a bit here, and look at this, Cardu to his inside. The Spanish rider leads, and his countryman goes through into 2nd place. Is there something wrong with the 41 bike? He's disappeared from view. Steve Bonnell has moved up to 3rd, and we saw there Avila trying to get to the inside of Ferran Cardu, but Cardu kind of forcing the matter there. Squeezing Julian out. These two have a healthy respect for one another aboard the 15 and 16 bikes. And it's the 16 that leads it for now. Steve Bonnell hunting them down. As we've alluded to already on this broadcast, Bonnell is really now the torch bearer for TM. Schmidt into the pit lane. And it looks like they're going to have to do some work on that 41 bike. Hopefully he gets back out there. Meanwhile, it's Honda versus KTM versus TM in the top three. And Avila gets to the inside of Ferran Cardu, and I think caught him a little bit by surprise there with a big lunge to the inside. Cardu, of course, a wildcard entry. We don't expect him to be here all season aboard the SGR machine. Avila wants to score points because we are expecting him to be full season. Mark Reiner Schmidt heads back out onto the circuit, but he's got a lot of work to do, as I understand it from there. Did he lose a lap even? Quite possibly. Steve Bonnell running in a strong third position aboard the number 3 TSV Racing entry, but has been rather dropped by the locals at the moment. The Frenchman, who was last year's champion in France in the S1 Elite category. We pick up on Mark Reiner Schmidt. He's all the way down in 10th. That is a lot of work that he needs to do. Trying to make his way through the field. We see him there following the 6 of Colin Bischoff, the German rider, who gets a rather nice lunge for his troubles there. Mark Reiner Schmidt on his way back through. I don't think he did lose a lap, as a matter of fact. Now running in 9th position. So he stayed on the lead lap, but he's got a lot of work to do. Desmo 450, really his baby. Team Undici and himself collaborating to make this a better bike. Oh, and the 29 getting loose in front of him there. That was Rafael Paet on his KTM. If he kept that up, that's a minor miracle. But Mark Reiner Schmidt on the ascendancy. He's now following Jonas Nedved, the Orion-backed rider, on the 202. Jonas, who of course was part of the Vice Championship team in S1 of Nations last year. But Mark Reiner Schmidt that step quicker. Here's Julian Avila Cortez. He has had a brilliant start to the season. He's the first for the checkered flag. His first win of the season. The first win of the season for the MTR KTM rider. Cardu second, Bonnell, Sammartin fourth. A good recovery from Schmidt to 5th position, ahead of Mitya Krasnicki in 6th.
I'm very happy for the race. I have P1 in Superpole, P1 in the race. I'm very happy for my team. Thank you for Franco and Anna for my support. Thank you for all.
Always great to be here in Albeida. The fans are really passionate about the Supermoto World Championship. S1GP weekend, always a highlight of the calendar. Perhaps there are some future stars to come from Albeida as well, by the looks of it. But always good to see the community growing around the event year on year. And what a thrill we've got in prospect today, with Mark Reiner Schmidt looking to make amends for a difficult Saturday. The fast race then, short, sharp and thrilling as always. Will Julian Avila get a better start this time? It doesn't look sensational to my eye. Mark Reiner Schmidt with the inside line into the first corner, and Avila's been firmly tripped up. He may even fall outside the top 5. He has done. He's running all the way down in 7th place. At the front of the field then, it is Mark Reiner Schmidt. Then it's Bonnell in 2nd. I think that might be Ferran Cardu in 3rd place, as everyone fighting for track space, and position in general. It's Mark Reiner-Schmidt, though, that leads them aboard the Ducati, the Desmo 450. Of course, this is the first motocross bike produced by Ducati. Has been adapted for Supermoto now, and Team Undici very proud of this partnership with the Italian manufacturer. And of course, having Mark Reiner-Schmidt there to develop, to feed back, is a huge asset to Ducati and the team. Steve Bonnell there in second place aboard the TM, which is a much more proven commodity. And Gabin Pernat again, the Team Insane Parts Suzuki crew. A lot of hype behind them coming into the season. Always great to see the yellow Suzukis out on course, but my word, this weekend has been a struggle for Gabin in particular so far. And of course, the fast race determines the grid for the super final, so that could well be the weekend in the bin, effectively. Julian Avila-Cortez has moved up to 4th position behind Ferran Cardu, and that's a good run there onto the back straight. He might well not be in 4th place for long. He's still behind the 16 for the time being, but he's looking racy. Elias Amartin there in 5th position as well, the Italian with so much success in domestic and international competitions. And in recent seasons, we've seen him just pile the points on event after event. No issues, just clean competitive riding. And could that serve him well across this campaign in 2026? Still waiting for an opportunity to get around Cardu is Julian Avila. There'll be no need for making it easy on his countryman in the mind of Ferran Cardu. He's got a point to prove. He can do it on the world stage. We know he can, of course. He managed to finish 3rd in the competitive domestic championship in France in Supermoto last year, and his flat track record is glowing. Whittling the laps away at the front is Mark Reiner-Schmidt. It's all looking pretty rudimentary for him at the moment, but of course, with that slight technical hitch that they had in yesterday's race, he will be a bit nervous. And that was through into 3rd place for Julian Avila. Great move from him. Lots of moves going on there at the end of that S-bend sequence, and oh dear, that tells a story for Gabin Pernat. Almost a lap down. We saw him there briefly ahead of Mark Reiner-Schmidt. I think he's now behind. Certainly not the day that was scheduled for Gabin, who we've seen, of course, contribute to success at the Supermoto of Nations for France previously. Really exciting to see him here in S1GP 2026. Avila then has moved up to 2nd place, so he's gotten around Steve Bonnell. And that's really important for him to minimise the points lost to this man, Mark Reiner-Schmidt. Across the line comes Schmidt to win the fast race. The first win for Ducati in the FIM Supermoto World Championship. A little bit of history made by Schmidt. Avila 2nd, Cardu 3rd, Bonnell down to 4th place. That's not great for him. San Martin 5th ahead of Adrian Sada.
Yeah, fast race, first victory for me this year on the Ducati. Brand new bike, the project is completely new. We start from 0. I'm proud of our work. Really good race from my side. But this one is a special one, is for my mother.
Emotional scenes for Mark Reiner-Schmidt. He's 6 points away from Avila in the standings. Can he do it from there? Super final time. Mark Reiner-Schmidt on pole position. Julian Avila starting 2nd. Cardu, Bonnell, San Martin and Sada, followed by Krasnicki, Nedved, Melvin Viola, Bischoff, Payet and Carlson taking us down to 12th position. Some competitive names further back as well. Jan Ullmann in 14th. What can he do from there? The final race of the weekend, the super final, is upon us. Remember, the Joker lane will be used in this one. Keep an eye on that factor. Avila has again had a poor start, though. He's been swallowed up. I think he's down to 5th position. We ride on board with Steve Bonnell, I believe just ahead of him. Yes, it is again the 16 of Ferran Cardu. San Martin in 4th position. Then it's Julian Avila in 5th place. And He needs to make sure he doesn't get outscored by more than 6 points by Mark Reiner-Schmidt. And indeed, of course, Ferran Cardew only 5 points back as well. The wild card winning the Grand Prix would be a big headline grabber. The last one I remember doing that is Diego Moreira. And of course, he and Ferran Cardew are very good friends. MotoGP rider who joined the Spanish event in FIM Supermoto a couple of years ago. We watch the 41 at the front of the field. Oh, Gavin Pernat on the move, trying to make up some positions. Again, started well down the field after a tricky, fast race. Ferran Cardew on the SGR machine, the Grau Racing Honda, keeping pace here with Mark Reiner-Schmidt. Steve Bonnell runs third aboard the TM. Oh, runs fourth aboard the TM because there goes Julen Avila. It didn't look like Bonnell had really much to fight with there, just let it happen, as it were. You can see how slick the racing line is on that dirt section as the weekend evolves, especially with support categories as well, S2s and juniors. Lots going on. Villa Cortez always strong on the tarmac sections. Of course, he won the S4 European Cup last year, which is the tarmac-only categorization. Oh, some of the tarp is down there in the Joker lane, which Mark Reiner-Schmidt explores now, and that hands the lead over temporarily to Ferran Cardew. Ferran yet to serve his Joker run. Always impressive slides from Cardew. Of course, Lucas Hülbacher, last year's champion, the reigning champion, sadly not defending this year, always one to throw shapes. In fact, it's Avila in the lead at the moment. Avila, I think, has now served his pen, so Cardew, oh goodness me, has now assumed the lead. And that was very close between himself and Mark Reiner-Schmidt, and I think Ferran deciding discretion the better part of valor. He's a wild card. He's yet to make his Joker lane visit, so just allows the 41 through before an uncompromising Mark Reiner-Schmidt signature pass is made. The Ducati rider again at the front, but I think once Ferran makes his visit to the Joker lane, it will be second place for Julen Avila. We see Elias Sammartin on his BRT Honda. Good to see him running well. But to my understanding, we do have second place for Julen Avila, and that will be enough to secure the Grand Prix, even if Schmidt wins this race, which he certainly looks likely to do from here. Picking his way through the field well. Something that Mark does exceptionally well. The traffic management over these longer races. Cardew's still there in second place, with Julen Avila behind. Has Cardew already made his visit to the Joker lane? I don't think he has. Mark Reiner-Schmidt up over the tabletop and approaching the final corners for the last time. Team Undici will be delighted with their Sunday, but it's not quite enough. Avila Cortez did take second place. Cardew with a late visit to the Joker lane. Bonnell takes third place. But the winner of the Grand Prix, the MTR KTM rider Julen Avila Cortez on home turf, claims the win. Mark Reiner-Schmidt second though. What a start for him, Team Undici and Ducati. Steve Bonnell third in the Grand Prix as well. A great start to his season. But he'll be frustrated not to have really been in the conversations for the race victories at any point. Mark Reiner-Schmidt in second position. The 41 rider with a point to prove, having been stripped of his championship postseason in 2025. Julen Avila Cortez, one of our great young stars, still developing as a talent. And the fact that he's already winning Grand Prix is a big alert, a big notice for everyone else. It's his first time winning a Grand Prix, and what a place to do it at, on his home turf. Sabin Olario, the FIM chief steward, presents the red plate to the 15 rider. Celebrations begin then for the first time this season, and of course, the bosses get the share of champagne spray.
I'm very happy for today. I know I'm very fast in the race, in the Super Bowl. This is thank you for Franco and Anna, for my team, for my sponsors. And I don't know, this is a new era, is Julian Avila, and for the next race, it's the same.
New era for Julian Avila. Let's see what he can do for the rest of the season. Schmidt, Bonnell, Cardew, San Martin and Nedved, your top 6 in the standings as we get ready to go to Sardinia on the 16th and 17th of May for round 2 of the season.